It's time for a wrap up. And no, it's not a monthly one. It's the wrap up of how much I was able to read in 2 weeks, which I spent on a trip to Germany, which was filled with book dates and a lot of flights. Well, actually not a lot of flights, but just a lot of traveling time. This is how it started. The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. I did finish volume 8. I was close to the ending in the beginning of that trip, so I just purely finished it. Then we moved on to Harvest Season, which is book 2 in a series. And we did finish that one. I liked it. We spent about 5 hours, I think, listening to that book on the travel to Germany. Really enjoyed it. This was a book that truly helped me stay awake when I needed to. After that, we started and finished The Rebound by Catherine Walsh, which is a story about a girl who goes back to her hometown because she has had such a bad luck at her job, and she runs into this guy who she starts flirting with because he's really cute, only to find out that he's her childhood next door neighbor who had a huge crush on her back in the day. She was not aware. She kind of just dumped him and moved on, even though they were best friends, and things get interesting. This is not a super spicy romance, but it was good. I enjoyed Catherine Walsh's style. There were some funny moments. I enjoyed it. As you can see, I read quite a lot of romance, some dark comedies, some just comedy romances, and I had to move on after The Rebound, but not too much because I read One Night Only by the same author, which is about two people who have a one-night stand, and then next time they see each other, she is the maid of honor and he's the best man at her best friend's wedding to his brother. Yeah, this one I really enjoyed more than The Rebound. I enjoyed how they finally came into a relationship together. It was really fun. I also started listening to The True Love Experiment by Kristen Lauren while I was on that trip, and I did finish it on the way back, on the flight back. This is a story where we have a dating reality show. One of the most popular romance authors goes on different dates with guys who can fit into different categories of romance tropes like second chances, the hot nerd, vampire, but she kind of only has eyes for the producer. This was a good experience. I would overall recommend it, but I don't think this was the best Christina Lauren I've read. This is actually probably the one I like the very least. Continuing with the romance, on the way back, I actually started Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan, my first Monaghan book, and I did do quite a lot of reading driving back home, so I really enjoyed that story. This is a story about a woman who, after a divorce and her mother dying, is starting to pick up the pieces of her life, and she meets this cute guy in the dog park who turns out to be her best friend's nerdy brother, who she kind of ignored when they were kids, and he had a big crap. Now I notice it. Now I actually do notice this is really similar, but I actually enjoyed this one a little bit better. It was a really interesting book. I did finish it shortly after the trip. Also on that trip, I started reading Witches Abroad. I probably read about half the book when I was on that trip. This is a reread for me. It's not an annual reread, but it might as well be. This is something I read every time I go to my favorite castle, which you would have seen if you've seen the previous videos. I love this story. This is, in my opinion, the funniest thing this guy has ever written, and Terry Pratchett is my favorite author of all time. I have read the entirety of the Discworld. I know what I'm talking about. This is hilarious. There's no argument about it. I had a pretty decent 2 weeks. I'm happy. There was fantasy, there was romance. If it wasn't for the heat, we could have had a blast.